to Coffee with Kelly. I am your inspirational barista, Kelly Merbler, coming to you for the very first time in podcast form. So to all of you that are joining me on this very first episode of the Coffee with Kelly podcast, I want to take a moment to welcome you and just bring that good energy that you've got maybe driving in your car, or maybe you're running around the house and cleaning up the house. Maybe you're walking your dog, or maybe you're just relaxing on the couch and wanted to find something to kick off your day and inspire you. But first and foremost, can we just take a look at this amazing studio? You may not be able to see all of it, but I have a new dig that I'll be bringing another version of Coffee with Kelly to you now monthly as we get started. And I cannot wait to be able to be with you in your car, maybe on your way to work. I know there's a lot of people that have reached out to me over the past 5 years of doing Coffee with Kelly, and they often ask me, they're like, Kelly, I can't always get on Zoom on a Friday morning at 8 o'clock. I've got meetings, I've got a million things going on, and getting on Zoom at 8 o'clock on a Friday is just not always feasible. Or I have people that are in different time zones all over the world, and 8 o'clock my time is 1 a.m. your time. So I've heard you. I heard you loud and clear, and that's why I am here now in the podcast studio, where I am launching today. This episode is the very first episode of the Coffee with Kelly podcast, and I'm going to be bringing you a message at least once a month. And as I get ramping up, I may do more, but at least once a month where I can now be with you wherever you go. So if you can't make Zoom, no excuses anymore, everyone. You can always get a message from Kelly to fill your cup. And so as we get this first episode started, I think it's really important for those of you that have not been a part of the Coffee with Kelly community for me to just set the tone of how we even got here. For those of you that don't even know what Coffee with Kelly is, it has been around. We're going into our 6th year now. It's January 2026, and this is our 6th year of doing Coffee with Kelly all around the world, but it's been on Zoom, as I said before. So Coffee with Kelly was started in March of 2020 because of that horrible C word that we all remember, COVID, and I didn't even know what I was going to do back then. Doesn't it feel like that was so long ago? It just feels like ages ago. And before I know it, it's now 6 years later. But Coffee with Kelly started literally in my home office, in a small little tiny office with my laptop, just like you see here. And I needed to find a way to inspire the world. I love to inspire people. I love to give practical tips to help people get where they're trying to go. And when everything shut down, there was no way I could reach anybody. I couldn't speak to any companies. I couldn't get into any companies. There was no training and development going on. And I felt the need to serve my community, not knowing what it would turn into. But in March of 2020, I turned on my laptop, I learned how to do Zoom, and I started a conversation called Coffee with Kelly, and I invited anybody around the world that wanted to come into that conversation back in March of 2020, and I was one of 5 people that showed up. Literally 5 people showed up 6 years ago. And today, I am so happy to report that we have had over 20,000 people visit the magical coffee shop, Coffee with Kelly, in these past 6 years. Not only 20,000 people that have visited, but we've had over 81 countries represented from that little Zoom coffee shop that will still exist, by the way. If you have been a part of Coffee with Kelly, do not worry. I am not taking away your live version. It will still happen twice a month. We can still be together online, but now you can take me in your car as well for an extra message if you need to hear me a little more often. So as we get started in this first episode, I want to welcome all of you. I want to wish you a happy new year because it is now 2026. I feel like 2025 was an absolute blur. And I get a lot of questions. And as we kind of tradition for how Coffee with Kelly typically goes, some of you are new, so you don't know our traditions, but I want to share with you some of the traditions that we have as we set up this first podcast conversation. And one of the traditions I always have is I set the conversation with a word of the day. And so I'll be picking a word of the day to kick off this conversation. And I did a lot of soul searching. I did a lot of thinking because it is a new year. It is brand new. The slate is clean, new canvas, and a lot of you have been reaching out to me to ask me questions as we kick off this year. And so I'm going to share with you, I brought one of the questions. I receive these on my email quite often because I ask people, I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want to hear? How can I best serve you? Where are you trying to go and what are you challenged with? So I took a question that I thought was very relevant for today, and it's coming in from a lady named Sarah. So I'm going to read this question, and I'm going to set up the word of the day based on this question. So the question that I always ask is, what is your biggest leadership challenge? And Sarah's question just resonated for the first of the year. And her question is, I want to help set myself up for growth this year, 2026, but I sometimes doubt myself. I feel a little intimidated by seeing what everyone else is doing, and I don't quite feel as confident as maybe I should. So, Kelly, what advice would you give me going into a new year of how to get started? Sarah, this word was picked just for you, and I hope so many of you around the world that are listening, you also can resonate with this word. But the word of the day to kick off our first podcast episode is start. So start is your word of the day, and I couldn't think of a better word for us to really kick off 2026 in this podcast because I had to myself get in the studio and just start doing what I'm doing right now. And as I think about Sarah's question, a lot of people, including me, I can so relate to this because as I go back to when I first started Coffee with Kelly, I remember how nervous I was, how maybe doubtful I was back then. I didn't know how to do Zoom. I didn't know how people would receive me. Would people like my personality? Would they show up? Would they want to even be with someone on a virtual coffee shop? And I'm going to share with you 3 tips today because I not only love to inspire people, but I always want to give you something practical that will help you in your growth, that you can get off this podcast or one of our calls and go right to work and work on it. So my goal for you today on this podcast episode is to give you 3 tips around the theme start for 2026 and action items that you can take. So if you're listening, tune in, start getting those ears perked up, maybe grab a sip of your coffee because sometimes just having a sip of coffee gives us all the energy we need to learn a new lesson. And I've got my Hug in the Mug, by the way. If you don't know our official Coffee with Kelly mug, this is the Hug in a Mug, and I'm going to give away one of these at the end of this episode. So stay tuned to how you will win your official Hug in a Mug. So start. The first tip I want to give you is stop waiting for confidence. Confidence comes after action. And I think of something I wrote years ago when I was looking at starting my own business around leadership development and consulting. And I think about how starting was the permission that I needed to give myself. I look back at that time when I first started, and what I was looking for to create my life was actually waiting for me to start. So sometimes what you're waiting for is actually waiting for you. And I want you to think about that as you hear this lesson, because what is it you've been waiting to start? Just like Sarah, maybe you've had some self-doubt, some confidence, lacking. Maybe you're just not sure if you're ready. And so what can you do? I'm going to give you some action steps, and I want you to write down, here's a question or a thought to be thinking about. Write down one thing you have been avoiding because you don't feel ready. So I'm going to give you some examples. Here's some things that I can share and relate with maybe some of you out there. I was avoiding really a health focus that I needed to take within the past year. I wanted to be a healthier person. I wanted to work out more so I felt better. So I was just taking care of myself and managing my well-being. Now, don't get me wrong. If you know me, I don't like working out. It is like my least favorite to do. Getting me to go into a gym is literally, I'd probably rather go to the dentist, honestly. But for me, I wanted to start truly taking better care of myself. I wanted to stop drinking alcohol. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to have more mental clarity, well-being. And for me, one of the things that I kept putting off because I never felt like I was ready because I just didn't want to do it was getting myself healthy. So last year, 2025, I got really intentional in starting my true health journey where I started to go to spin class. And I have all the admiration in the world for people that show up at a spin class at a 5:30 in the morning wake-up call. Let me tell you, that is no joke. But what I did in order to start is I just started to get into the parking lot. And sometimes for me, it was just actually getting up, creating the routine, and getting out of bed to get to the spin cycle class. And did I go in there and do it for 45 minutes at first? Absolutely not. But started. And I stopped thinking that I wasn't ready because I wouldn't be good enough. Heck, I'm still not great at spin, but because I started, I have created a habit. I've created a routine of taking better care of myself. Now, do I love it? Absolutely not. But I love the feeling that it gives me after I do it. So maybe for you, it is a health focus. Maybe this year, that's your year. You want to have better well-being and take better care of yourself. Maybe for you, it's really about picking the location of that dream trip that you've always wanted to take. And maybe how you can start doing that is just start making a list and just write a list of all the places you dream about going and start getting into that futuristic mindset of dreaming about what it would be about being in those cities that you've always wanted to visit. But you got to start. Maybe it is writing that book that has just been in the back of your mind for as long as you can remember because you've got a story to tell. But maybe you think you're not an author. You're not good enough. You're not a great writer. But how can we get there? The best way we can get there is to just start writing the first word. So starting is the permission that you need. And I'm giving you this permission in this new year to just start. So that is my first tip. And I would say it's not going to be easy, and that's the honest truth, but I would never be here today if I didn't start doing Coffee with Kelly and I kept doubting myself. But because I started, I didn't know where it would go. And now I'm here in a podcast studio doing my very first podcast episode for all of you out there because I decided to just give myself permission to doing something that I never felt ready for. But because I did it, I'm now here and I've built a beautiful community of all of you out there that have just become some of my closest friends, and we've done the most amazing things together over the past 6 years. So if I didn't start doing it, we would have never done some of the things that we've accomplished together. So I'm giving you permission to start whatever it is you want right now and give yourself the permission as well. So tip 2, starting was the first part. Tip 2 is you've got to take the first imperfect step. I always say progress beats perfection. Now, that's coming from someone that is, if you're familiar with Clifton Strengths, I am someone that is a maximizer. So all of you maximizers out there may relate to this. I don't like doing anything when it's mediocre. I always want to be excellent and really above average. But when I think about doing this first podcast, I put it off for so long, very honestly, because I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted every word to be right. I wanted all the angles to be perfect. I wanted the studio to be the best that it could. But I kept holding myself back because of perfect. And when I think about that, I've made progress today by being here, doing this recording, And it's not going to be perfect. I'll look back at this and say, oh my God, I could have done that better. I could have changed how I said this, or I could have changed maybe my hair. Whatever that is, I'll always have that inner judgment about what I see could be more perfect. But the more I do life and the older I get, I really think about the best moments in my life weren't perfect. They were authentic. They made mistakes, and I learned from those lessons. And so as you are thinking about what you want to start this year, just remember that progress beats perfection every single time. I'm proof of that. And we'll never be perfect, but if we take the first step and we start, that's the progress we need, because that first step creates action. And that's the action we need to build the confidence we have been lacking. As I sit here and I'm recording this podcast, I think about, my God, I'm so glad I did this finally, because now I'm having a good time with all of you. Now we're creating action, and now we're getting the first episode out there. So now we can reach more people. But if I didn't start because I kept judging if it was going to be perfect, if I was going to say the right thing every single time, I wouldn't be with you in your car today. And so be authentic. Don't worry about being perfect, because we're going to make mistakes together and we're going to learn from them. So if you are 70% ready, I challenge you to just start without being perfect, because progress beats perfection every single time. So now let's get into tip 3, and I want to share this with you. I want you to be thinking about this, because so many of us are going towards that goal, or whatever success may look like to you in 2026. But I want you to think about tip 3 is share the journey, not just the wins. And I say that because people, at least people that I met through these past 6 years at Coffee with Kelly, people love when I share the challenges that I've had. And it's not always just the wins. Yeah, I've had some great over the past 6 years with Coffee with Kelly and things that we've done, but I've also experienced a lot of challenges in my journey of learning as a leader and learning how to do better episodes of Coffee with Kelly. So I challenge you to share the journey, not just the wins, because when we do that, it gives others the confidence to start their own journey, where maybe they were holding themselves back, just like some of us were. We never thought we were ready. We thought we had to be perfect, and we just didn't, because we didn't think we were good enough. So if that speaks to you, I really want you to think about when you start, because you are going to start. It's not if you start, it's when you start. Share the journey, not just the wins. And that means share the things that make mistakes around. Share the conversations that were challenging for you. Share what's coming into your mind when you're feeling that doubt, because that's helping others know that it's okay that you have that too. Even though it looks like everything is perfect in social media and everything is perfect when you show up, just remember, I had self-doubt coming into today. I didn't know if I would sound great, but I'm going to share that with you right now, because I'm just telling you, I'm just like all of you. I doubt myself too sometimes. So I'm no different than anyone else. So here's some examples for those of you out there. Maybe share what you're currently trying to figure out. So maybe you're trying to figure out how to do a podcast, and share that you're not sure how to do it, but you're going to just get in there and you're going to start recording. Maybe you are a leader out there that's listening and you're really struggling with how to lead the younger generation. But maybe you're learning, you're reading, you're taking some leadership classes, or you're getting a coach. Well, share what you're learning about how to be a better leader for the generation that you're leading right now. Or maybe share with all of us, what's a hard conversation that maybe you've had to have, and what did you learn by doing it? So share with us that maybe it wasn't easy, but easy is sometimes overrated if you ask me, because I've learned that sometimes when I do the hard things, heck, I get so much better than the easy things. So I just challenge you, as we're wrapping up tip number 3, share the whole journey. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Heck, None of us are. But I think that's what connects us with more people out there in the world. People want to know a person that isn't just trying to be something that they're not. People want real. People want authenticity, and people want to know who you are. And that's what helps us stretch to get to where we are. So I'm going to give you a final question, and I want you to think about this after these 3 tips I've shared. So what is one thing that you have currently been waiting to feel ready for that you could just start in 2026? So what is that one thing that you have been waiting that you just didn't feel ready for, that you could start now in its imperfect way, in its messy way, that you could start in 2026 and start now and share that journey with us? So I'm going to give you a thought as we close this out, is you are not behind. I know a lot of you out there are thinking that you should be a lot farther ahead or in a different chapter of your life, and maybe you didn't start soon enough. But you are just at the starting line. And sometimes being at the starting line is the most magnificent, messy place that we could be. Because what happens after we start is a beautiful journey of where we're going and all the lessons that we're going to learn along the way. And that's what I love most about this beautiful community that is across the globe of over 20,000 people in the past 6 years is you just show up, you just come as yourself, no holds barred, and we just have authentic conversations to help each other learn, grow, and develop. So as we end this episode, don't go anywhere yet because I'm giving away our first official podcast Hug in a Mug. And the best way, the winner, how you will be able to win this, I'm going to give it to the first person that makes a comment on my very first post about this podcast when it's released. So if you want to be the first winner of our official Hug in a Mug for Coffee with Kelly, look for my post on LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube. And the first person to post will be notified, and I will ship an autographed Coffee with Kelly mug to you. I can only ship in the United States, so if you are international, do not worry. I will take care of you. I will do a digital Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts gift card for you to share your next cup of coffee in our next episode. So wherever you get your podcasts, please download and subscribe, because my goal is to bring you an inspiring and practical lesson at least once a month, if not more. And as we close out this very first episode, I want to share this with you because so many people think that they are so far behind where they think they should be. And I want to say this because you are not behind. You are just at the starting line. And so for all of you out there, I want to thank you for being with me on this very first episode. Spread the word. Let's spread the love. And I look forward to seeing you and hearing you in our upcoming live episodes on Coffee with Kelly and our podcasts coming to you soon at a podcast near you. As we say at Coffee with Kelly, our line is always, people don't come to Coffee with Kelly, but people are Coffee with Kelly. Cheers.